Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to take a closer look at a really interesting educational model. And we're doing it by looking at one particular school, Leelawati Devi International Public School. We're going to explore how they're trying to bridge a very common educational gap in their community. So, let's dive in and see what makes them tick.
Okay, first things first, and this is important for any parents watching. The school's admissions for the new academic session, they are officially open. And hey, if you're thinking about it, you'll definitely want to know this. For the entire month of February, the school is running a special offer, free admission. So that's a pretty big incentive for anyone who acts fast. Now, this really gets to the heart of a huge question that so many parents in rural areas are facing. How do you give your child a strong future in English when they're coming from a primarily Hindi-speaking background? This is the core challenge that this school is built to solve.
Okay, so let's get into it by really understanding the school's core mission. They call it building a foundation for tomorrow.
So, what is Leelawati Devi International Public School exactly? Well, it's a government-recognized English medium school. But its whole purpose, its whole design, is to act as a bridge, to help students transition smoothly from that rural, Hindi-speaking environment into having a really strong foundation in English.
And you know, a huge part of their strategy comes down to the faculty. The school makes it a point to highlight that their teachers are professionally qualified, with degrees like a bachelor's or master's of education. They also have other important teaching certifications and have passed the Teacher Eligibility Test, or TET. So they're really leaning on certified expertise to deliver on their promise.
But it's not all about just hitting the books. The school's philosophy is actually much broader than that. They're centered on what they call all-round development, which is really about being more than just books.
And they've actually broken this down into what they call the 5 pillars of development. This whole framework is designed to focus equally on not just academic growth, but also mental strength, physical health, moral values, and personality development. It's a truly holistic approach to education.
And this entire philosophy is summed up perfectly in their guiding principle. Education is not confined to books alone. This really drives home their commitment to shaping kids into well-rounded individuals, not just students.
Okay, so that's the philosophy, right? But you might be wondering, how does that translate into practical skills for the real world? Well, the school focuses on providing what they call tools for the future, to get students ready for a competitive world.
I mean, let's be honest, in today's world, digital literacy is absolutely essential. So the school puts a big emphasis on computer classes, but with a strong focus on practical, hands-on training. The goal is to make sure students aren't just learning about tech, but are actually comfortable and competent using it.
And of course, tying right back to their core mission, there's a dedicated focus on English speaking and personality development. This is about so much more than just learning a language. It's about building the confidence to really communicate effectively, no matter where you are.
Here's something else they do that's pretty smart. They start preparing students for major competitive exams early on. The whole idea is to give them a long-term advantage by getting them into that mindset much sooner than is typical.
And they have a really clear pathway for this. They prepare students for some pretty prestigious exams, like the Navodaya entrance exam, the National Talent Search Examination, which is also known as NTSE, and various academic Olympiads. This creates a really structured roadmap for students who are aiming high.
All right, let's switch gears a bit, because for any parent, the academic stuff is great, but you also need to know about the practical things, right? The day-to-day stuff, like safety, convenience, and any extra benefits. This section is all about putting parents' minds at ease.
So they've got the essentials covered. We're talking about a safe and reliable bus service, clean drinking water for all the students, and a location that's easy to get to. All these little things add up to make the daily routine a whole lot smoother for families.
Now here's a really unique benefit the school offers, and it's specifically aimed at helping out larger families. Just think of the number 3+. So here's the deal. It's a special family benefit. If a family enrolls 3 or more of their children in the school, one of those kids gets a free computer course, and they can choose between valuable courses like the CCC or the ADCA, which are designed to build really practical digital skills.
Okay, so we've heard what the school says about itself, but what do the parents actually think? Let's take a look at some real reviews to get a feel for the trust they've built in the community. Check out this 5-star review from a mother. She says she's very happy with her decision and really points out 2 things: the highly qualified teachers and the individual attention each child receives. And then she says she highly recommends the school specifically for quality education in rural areas.
And it's not just a one-off. Here's another 5-star review from a guardian who says they're fully satisfied and calls it an excellent school for quality education in a rural area. You see that pattern? Both reviews really emphasize that last point.
So, who's steering the ship? The school is led by Principal Shimpi Tripathi and Manager Jitendra Tripathi. And if you look through the parent reviews, you'll see they're often credited with creating the positive and disciplined learning environment that everyone's talking about.
So if this sounds like something you want to look into for your child's future, we've got the contact info for you right here, and they're available 24/7. Looking at this school's model really brings up a much bigger question for education everywhere. How can schools best act as that bridge between local culture and global opportunities? It's a challenge for sure, but it's one that communities everywhere are working to solve.